Hello and welcome back to another character creation video. My name is Lumen and today we are back in Avowed once more. This time around for male character creation and customization. For those that perhaps didn't know, Avowed is a first-person fantasy RPG set in the world of Eora, where your choices carve a path through war, intrigue, and ancient mysteries. Navigate a land in turmoil, forge powerful alliances or deadly rivalries, and wield magic and steel to shape the fate of the living lands and your own destiny. It also has a character creation system that is unique and interesting, and I love it. So I'm very excited to be here again. I was lucky enough to receive a code for this from Obsidian, which I appreciate tremendously. But with that out of the way, let's get down to business. If you'd like to do a deep dive to discover all there is to discover about Avowed, you can find some links below. And as always, there will be timestamps. Use them, find what you're looking for, and leave satisfied. In this video, we're looking at, as mentioned, male character creation and customization. We're going to look at all the presets available, the body and face options, the voices and other extras, and everything in between. At the end of the video, you will also find some custom creations that I put together for the thumbnail or that I just made for fun. They're pretty cool. Go and look at them. If you want to see the other stuff, like the backgrounds and the attributes, you can have a look at my full character creation video. It covers all of that exhaustively. Right. Now, jumping in here, our first port of call is the preset menu. I'm going to go through all of them once so you can see what's available on both sides. So you'll be able to see basically every possibility that you could pick in this character creation system, and I feel like that's actually a bit of a lie. There's so much more. They have actually got most of the godlike features on display here, which is really cool, and you can see them as we're going through here, the cool growths and extra goodies on the characters' faces and heads. But I do believe that they held back a little bit with the sliders specifically, and they definitely held back with the colors that are available, because they let you just run free with that. When it comes down to like the markings and the tattoos and stuff like that, and the colors you can apply to those, and then even more impactful, the hair and the facial hair, you can go nuts with it, and it's really cool. So while this does give you a good look at some of the slightly more straightforward stuff that you can make with the options here, there is a lot more to be found in the game. That is not to say that these options aren't good enough, because I believe that you could quite easily just jump in here, pick one of these dudes, and happily play the game with it. It's no problem. They are cool. I personally prefer the female designs that they have here. I think they have a little bit more variety, but I still think that they have a good selection here. And yeah, it's awesome. Just click one and get going. Or pick the one you like, and then just customize it, tweak a few things, and go for it. So that's it for the presets. Our next stop is the body type. I'm going to remove this so you can see the body itself. And you get to pick between two human body types and two elf body types. And as we are doing this, I'm going to tell you that each of these has their own set of faces. So while the body itself doesn't change all that much, it slims out a little bit. There is a selection of faces for human and a selection for elf. Human has a little bit more variety, I suppose I would say, where they have some slightly older and mature faces. The elves have a finer selection, you know, more angular, more prim and proper, perhaps. It's nice. It's nice that there's a difference between them. The next option, however, is skin tone. I'll show you the faces in just a moment. For the skin tone options, I actually kind of like the way they've done this. It's simple. It's satisfying. It covers basically everything that it needs to cover. You have a bunch of preset options here that basically range from pretty pale all the way to pretty dark. And then you got the sliders for tone and temperature. So if you go to the palest option here, you make it warmer. Looks a little bit more natural. You pull it all the way to the cooler side. It looks a little bit more pale. This is usually what I end up going for on my female characters at least. And it's the same when you go for the darker shades. It's pretty well done. It is incredibly well done, actually. The only game that I think that I've recently seen that does it quite a lot better is Monster Hunter Wilds. I really like the way that they handle skin tones in that. It's very similar, but a little more variety on both sides. So you can go a little darker and you can go a little paler. and I dig that. But yeah, overall, this is more than you need. I'm going to pick one of these sort of middling starting points over here on the warmer side of things, and we'll go with that. And now we're going to talk about the faces for a moment. So as you can see with the ear over here, we're on the human body type. The faces here are more varied. They have a bunch of ethnicities that they cover here, and I think that the face and the facial structures, they differ quite a lot more than on the elvish side of things. Then, these last two, they actually give you some slightly more mature looking faces, which I like. I wouldn't have been unhappy if there were like one or two more of these slightly older looking faces. That would have been cool, but overall it is a good selection. And if you come back over here and you select the elf gentleman, then you can come over here and you can see a completely different set of faces. There are some similarities, of course, but they are different faces. And I think that you will definitely be able to find something that you like. And if you don't find something that you like, you'll be able to pick one and make it into something that you like, right? So for the purposes of this video, let's just go with a straightforward human dude, this guy. And I'm actually just going to take the first face. That's it. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think it's a good large face with lots of space for putting things on. Excellent. Now, on to the best part of this character creation system, the godlike features. You are godlike, a rare individual born blessed or cursed with a connection to one of the gods. Godlike manifest their divine heritage in unique physical features with innate abilities that reflect their patron deity. Different cultures may view them with suspicion, reverence, or curiosity. Strangely enough, many of the godlike have disappeared from the world in recent years, but you have not. Stranger still, you've never learned which god touched your soul. A mystery. I like when they set something like this up right at the start. It's very cool. Now, you have an option to turn this off, but the NPCs in the game itself will still recognize you as a godlike regardless. That's part of the story. You are jumping in as the envoy. You are godlike. That's that. I feel because of that, perhaps you should consider picking one of these options. I believe that they are excellent, and there's a nice variety here. I just like it when people go hard on the character creation systems. I'm very keen on that myself, specifically with this, because there are so many cool options. So let's jump through them and let's have a look. You will notice that these are fungal-inspired creations, where it looks like a lot of them have like shelf mushrooms on your face, growing out here, protruding. You can change and modify them slightly by moving the sliders of your character's face around. As an example, this one, you'll be able to move the brow around quite a bit to move these. The cheeks, the cheekbones, the jaw, stuff like that will move this around. But that's actually just you moving the face, and these move as a byproduct. You're not customizing them. And that said, I'd love to be able to customize these things. I'd love to be able to use them modularly, you know? So if you could have like one half, not the other, or just one part and not the other. Or if you could change the colors on them, that would be kind of cool as well. But these are fun and interesting and unique. And I mean, really, I've said this like a bunch of times. It is the first time that I've seen something so nuts in a character creator. And I like that. I like that they stepped outside of what could be considered a comfort zone to make these, because they'll definitely not appeal to everyone, but people that embrace it and embrace their role as envoy and godlike can have so much fun with this. And that said, it would be cool if they added a few more options for this. I don't know if they ever will, but it would be cool if there was something for everyone here. I love it. And I mean, that's a selfish thing to say, because I just want to actually for myself see more of them. But yeah, I mean, more is always better. That's what it comes down to with character creation. More is generally always better. The hair features, very, very cool. Incredibly well done. I love how neatly they attach it to your character and how they make it just look natural. It is phenomenal. So yeah, this is my favorite one by far. I just love the amount of colors on there, the amount of detail, and it actually brings me to a point that I will most likely mention in my outro, is I'd love to be able to zoom in further so I could like really look at this stuff up close and personal, because this is as far as we can zoom in, and it's not enough. It's okay, but it's not enough. I want to get closer. The characters look phenomenal. The texture work is great. Let me zoom in further. Perhaps they should just add a inspect feature here where you can hide the UI and zoom in on your character. That would be cool, right? That said, a lot of nice options here. And I feel you would be wasting a great opportunity if you don't pick them, right? I think that you could even simplify your character creation experience by picking certain ones here, like this one as an example. Then you can go for like the Robocop style of just customizing the jaw and maybe the hair. And that's boom, 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 you know, done. Now, for the purposes of this video, we are going to carry on without these on. I might throw them back on at the end, but I want to show you all the other bits and pieces that you can customize on the face. So we're going to want to remove that for now. Moving on to the hair. This is actually probably my second favorite part of the customization system, because I do think that there's a good selection here in terms of the variety. They cover pretty much every base that there is to cover. They have, and again, I somehow managed with someone, like this is just basically not Jude Law. We've got not Jude Law here. You know, I'm going to try and make Jude Law. I can't from memory perhaps create him exactly, but I think I just need to slim the jaw out a little bit and we'll be sitting with a good looking Jude Law. Nose can be a little bit smaller as well. Anyway, that's his hairstyle as well. Right there, I've just picked it, see? That said, I think that they cover pretty much every base that there is to cover. There's an argument to be made that they could throw some mohawks in here. Because we've got like the almost mohawks. We've got these like sort of popular middle dominant styles, but we don't have proper mohawks, and that's a bit of a pity, but maybe that's a cultural thing. Maybe mohawks haven't come to Eora just yet. I don't know, man. But they have a fantastic selection of hair, and speaking of the hair, when we get down to the colors, you will see that it is probably, in terms of the way that the colors show on your character's head, in terms of the way that they just look in general, it's one of the nicest and most pleasing to the eye systems that I have encountered in a while. I mean, there are a lot. There are a lot of good ones. We've been spoiled recently. Monster Hunter Wilds comes to mind. Dragon Age the Veilguard comes to mind. We've been spoiled. I mean, with hair, nothing comes close to Veilguard. But with this, they've done a decent job at adding just the right amount of physics to the hair for it to look like it's alive and well, but not so much so that it can look out of place or look janky. And I appreciate that, because obviously you've got to work with what you've got, right? But, hey, yeah, they do have a lot of good styles here. They've got the long ones, the short ones, they've got the in-betweens. I feel they cover all the ethnic requirements as well. You know, they've got the braids, the dreads, the afros and stuff, and it's cool. It's cool. You know, I will always say more is better, but at this point, I do believe that they've probably got everything that we need. So, again, for this video, I hate to be boring, but I'm going to take like a shorter style. I kind of dig this one. It's just nice Disney prints here. I could go for the Jude Law one if we make in Jude. Nah, let's not do that right now. This will give us a good enough look. Actually, you know what? I know I'm indecisive, but let's go with the longer style so that we can look at the hair nicely with the colors here. The basic colors that they give us are all right. They are a sort of grounded in reality serving suggestion for us. And I mean, I'm not against this, but there is so much more and so much better. They give you a good blonde, they give you a good gray, they give you a decent dark gray, which is not black, but they give you so much more down here. Now, one of my complaints, which is a very minor complaint, is I'd like to be able to turn the highlights on and off, because as it stands right now, when I apply a color to my hair, you will notice that's not black, because my highlight is not black. So you need to change both together. So as an example, if we're going for this, if we're going for this, if we're going for that, you'd have to do them both together to get that actual color. Same as if you're going for like a white, as an example, you're going to want to do this and that, and then you've got the white, right? So with that said, you can go full RGB with this, and I love it. You can go nuts with the colors. As an example, I'll show you the red. There you go. And as you move it around, go for the yellows here, you can see that it actually applies very nicely. And somehow, and I don't know how they do this, okay, the artists and the modelers and stuff like that are just really smart, but somehow they make it not look too out of place. They make it actually look like it sort of suits the character, suits the style, and suits the world, especially when you jump in, because the game's world is about as vibrant and full of life as the characters can be, which is awesome. It's phenomenal. I've only played a little bit myself, but it's really cool. You can go anywhere you like with this. And I do believe that if you sort of apply yourself to this a little bit, you can probably find something that you really like, and you can probably mix the highlights in there in a satisfying way. I have not messed around that much with the highlights, but I do know that you can make them look decent. So I believe that it is a good system as it is right now, but I also believe that there is more that could be done to make it an even better system. That said, let's go for a plain and straightforward style so as to not detract from the experience. I actually thought that this guy looked relatively good as a brunette, so I don't mind. Or blonde, perhaps. I think he looked good as blonde as well. Yeah, blonde is definitely good for him. I'm going to change to a short style once more, though. We've now looked at that. We've looked at the hair. So just know you can do a lot with these colors. But I'll have a short style on just so that we can see everything else that's going on. And with the beards that we're going to look at now, I'm going to match it to our hairstyle quickly so that we can get a good look. That makes sense. The facial hair in this game it's nice. It's nice. It's okay. I have absolutely no complaints. I love the mustache that they have here. I am not a huge fan of the way that they've done the shorter beards. They look okay, but they're not amazing. You can actually make it look a little better by throwing some stubble on in the markings section. There is a stubble option there that you can put on, and then it makes the shorter styles look nicer. I just want to point that out. And it makes it look like there's like a proper 5 o'clock shadow, more so than you have here. But overall, the beards are fine. They look good, and I feel like they have enough here. I think especially when you get to the bigger beards, it starts to look nicer. Some of them have, in my opinion, better texture work and nicer shading and stuff like that than others. And some of them look more natural than others. I personally really like the longest one that they have here. I kind of like this one with the little braids in, and I think that this one is also kind of nice. Even though it's a little bright here, you can easily just rectify that by bringing the brightness down a little bit. But the beards and the facial hair overall, pretty good. I don't think that they cover all their bases where this is concerned, but they are pretty good. And you can, once again, change the color to anything you desire. You can make your beard pink, you can make it purple, you can make it anything in between. This one specifically looks very bright when you do that, but there you go. You do you with that. I'm going to take it off for now, so that when we jump into the next set of options, we can actually see what we're changing. This guy has such a handsome face. Alright. Eye options. Eye size. I have had some good luck changing the eye size and fiddling around with this to make sort of what I would call fae characters. Sort of like these bigger eyes that may be more suited to fairies and stuff like that. I've enjoyed it. Taking like the elf characters, like I made a female elf and a male elf actually, that had like massive eyes. And it's nice having more real estate there because the colors are brighter. And then you put like all these cool godlike features on it. It ends up looking quite natural and it looks like it fits, you know? But obviously, you know, just having the option to go bigger and smaller is nice. Personally, I'm going to leave it around here for now so we don't look too out of place. The eye position, you can move that up and down. Eye spread. You know what I've noticed now about our character after looking at it for a little while? It's like we've got sort of like a Chris Pine meets Jude Law. Like we've got the two of them and we've melded them together. Yeah, interesting. Both handsome individuals, of course. Eye colors, they have a selection of defaults that you can pick from here. There isn't much eye customization. You just do the color and you can do heterochromia. The color is good. There's just no other way of saying it. You've got full RGB. You've got just a slider here with every color on the damn rainbow, and you can go anywhere you like. I am particularly fond of the red eyes and the yellow and green eyes. I think that they look excellent. I would have enjoyed it if we could have changed the pupils a little bit, but I think that that's a law and set-in kind of situation where we don't really have that kind of character here. I would not be surprised if they release an expansion for this at some point that introduces another race. I wouldn't be surprised at all. That said, I like the eyes. I am going to go for a pale blue, I think, for this, because I think it suits our guy with his blonde hair quite nicely. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Yeah, I mean, okay. Why not? You can do heterochromia. Let's actually do heterochromia. Let's go for the right eye, and let's make it a nice pale green as well. That's kind of nice, right? I think that's nice. Stop. Don't say anything any further. I've decided. Brows. These are pretty important options here, because these can help you sort of choose the tone that you set whenever you come into a conversation. You can, especially with the brow angle, which is our last option down there, you can very easily and effectively make your character look a little more curious about the situation, or a little bit more concerned. And to be honest, I actually really like pulling it all the way, like, to this side, like around here maybe. It makes your character's face look softer. It's a big deal. I mean, brows are always a big deal. The eyebrows, you can match it to your head, but I always believe that darker brows look nicer. The colors and the options here are very much the same. So your hair options and whatever, you can go anywhere you like with it. You can go for any color you like, and it applies quite nicely. I do believe it would be cool if they could have added. It would have been nice to have some eyebrow options. But again, you can't really zoom in any further, so you can't really see the eyebrows anyway. But I would have liked to have seen some eyebrow options. I don't know, man. It's a fantasy video game. Let me have a notch in my brow. I'm not going to notch my brow IRL, so let me notch my brow in the game, please. Nose size. You can make a skinny little nose. A big old nose. You can add the position up and down. The depth, that is also quite an impactful one. And you can go sort of anywhere you want with this, by the way. Like, you can go pretty crazy with these options. Full Wicked Witch, if you'd like. But yeah, good options. I'm going to leave them sort of somewhere in the middle for now, just because I want to play it safe for this character. I'll make the nose a little smaller. Like I said, if I was going to make Jude Law, I think I would have made it a little smaller. Not much, but a little. And I would have brought the depth in a little bit as well. I think he's got a smaller nose. Face shape. Probably your most important port of call in the facial features section, because it's quite impactful. We've got the cheek position firstly. You can also set the mood and tone of your character's face as well. The cheek width, the cheek depth. Got to be careful with depth, by the way, because you can't always see it nicely. But when you jump in and you actually play in the game and the light hits from a certain angle, oh, you're going to see it. The jaw options are the biggest, I think, of the bunch, where you can go super duper wide with it or super duper narrow. And yeah, there's quite a lot to be seen with that. I believe that, again, I will probably go for something slightly smaller, a little bit more fine around the edges there. Even though I do like a pronounced jaw, I'm not making that right now. Chin properties, bigger and smaller. Kind of nice, actually, with the big chin. I think it's quite handsome. You can go full Disney Prince. I'll show you the full Disney Prince mode. Like, it's like you can overdo it and go for, like, the Giga Chad status if you like. And I mean, why not? Like, they give you the option. It's not Disney Prince. This is Giga Chad. You can do it. Absolutely. So, yeah, man. Have fun with that. I believe that you guys and those that play this game will most likely be creative enough to set something cool and interesting up with it. With great power and all that, you know? Mouth options. I believe we could pucker those little things up a little more. There we go. Let's put it up a little bit, like over there. There's a width option. Okay, we're not going to pucker it too much because that actually looks a little ridiculous. You can move it up and down. And then finally the depth. There we are. Excellent. Our final stop, the ears. Now, elf ears, human ears, same settings, no big difference here. You can make them relatively big, which I like. And yeah, that's it. That's it. No earrings or anything like that you can put in, unfortunately. That does bring us to the end of the features section. Let's go on to the extras. That's complexion and makeup and tattoos and stuff. This is kind of fun. So for the complexion, I'm going to pull this up to the max. You have a bunch of decent options that you would expect, with beauty spots, with freckles, and with dirt that you can throw on the face. Then you can also pick one of them, and you can increase or decrease the spread, which is the amount that's visible on the face, or how far it spreads around. And then you can change the amount, which is basically the opacity. Then you can change the colors, which allows you to do some pretty fun stuff, because you can make it any color under the damn rainbow. I have seen one or two interesting characters that I've actually used. I think they used white speckles like this on the face, and it ended up looking quite cool. But I have not managed to make something nice enough all by myself with this. You can do fun stuff though. Absolutely. Next up, the lips. Not a huge amount of lipstick options here, but the ones that they have do look relatively nice. I've got the shine up to the max, but you can take it off and have it sort of matted. There are some sort of unique-ish options like that one. And I personally like this one. And then there's like a attempt at a heart. It's not great. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind throwing lipstick on this dude. I think it looks relatively nice. For the colors, they give you a bunch of serving suggestions here, but I do suggest that you serve your own colors onto this guy's lips, because the ones that you can pick are obviously going to be more exciting. You can go for anything. Legitimately anything. I would obviously suggest that you go for something that matches the rest of the character that you're doing. It's whatever, but hey, that's there, and that's the options. Next up is facial scars. For this, I'm going to pull it to the darkest now. Just keep in mind, if you're going for something like a scar, you can make it look more natural by making it browner or redder or something like that. I'm making it the darkest right now just so you can see what they look like. As an example, these would probably look nicer if you make them into that tone right there. Right? I'm going to make it the darkest so you can see them though. There are some markings here that actually look really good when you put them onto like the skin tones. It's like you can see that they've either, I suppose they've been like burnt into the flesh or something like that. There's a lot of cool options like that. Then there are some scars. Not a huge amount of scars, unfortunately. There are some. And then you've got these markings, which are kind of nice as well. Again, keep in mind the colors can change and they can look better or worse. Then you got this. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. It's like freckles, but not like skin patches or something. More scars. Even more scars. These actually look kind of nice. Again, I've just got it on the darkest so you can see it. Then we got something that looks like scales over here. I kind of like this one as well. I like how it looks once again when you make it a slightly more fitting color, or when you make it fully white. It actually looks kind of cool as well. And then there's this one that sort of makes you look like a tree person, which I also like. This all changes quite drastically when you fiddle with your skin tone also. Next up, the eyeliners. Eyeliners are quite fun in this. I'm going to pull the amount up to max so you can see the different color zones that they have here. You will notice that some of them have multiple zones and some only have one. There are decent choices here, and this is probably one of the hardest sections of the character creation system to navigate because of the fact that there are 3 different color zones that you can influence, and to find the right balance and to have them properly mix and gel with the rest of your character's design, it's not the easiest thing. So just approach with caution is what I'll say. Or do something plain, just like a bit of eyeliner. But there are some really nice designs, and before I go any further, I will just show you that you can go pretty hardcore with the colors, and I really appreciate that, you know? Then you can add a shine or gloss to any of them also. They do feel a little random to me, but at the same time, they look nice. There's a lot that you can do here. You have 3 different color zones that you can change or modify, and I think that's more than enough. Let's take a dark one over there, and I'll show you on this. There we go. You got the dots, you got the stripe, you got the 2 spots. It's cool. Yeah, a lot that you can do there. Then our final stop is the makeup. This is much the same, except with the makeup, you can actually change the amount. That's the opacity slider on each of them. So what you can end up doing is, if you have one with 3 zones, then you can add or remove. Let's see which one has 3 zones. Different parts of it. I guess it's kind of unimportant. You understand the idea. I know there are some with 3 zones here. But let me change the colors to something more contrasty, and then we'll be able to see. So if we go for like a black on the one, then we go for a, let's say, a pink on the other one, and then let's go for a white on the final one. Then you'll be able to see as we jump through what they look like. It's going to look tacky now, I apologize, but you will at least see the different zones. There is the option for some blush. There are some more straightforward, like war paints and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. And yeah, overall the selection here, in my opinion, is excellent. There's 3 different tones. So you've got the middle one that's white, and then you can also, as I mentioned, take any of these out and just leave the parts that you like, if you so desire. So it's good to know that it is all modular. I do wish that the eyeliner was the same, but at the moment it's not. Perhaps they will change that at some point in the future. But there's a good selection here, and you can most definitely set yourself up with something pretty cool. There's even some stubble here, some extra 5 o'clock shadow that you can apply. And some of these work incredibly well with some of the facial scars. I will just say that. I have seen some nice combinations that can be put to use in fine and interesting ways. But the colors here, just like the colors with most of the other stuff in this character creation system, they are the biggest part. You know, you can sort of do anything just because of that. Somehow we end up here with this handsome looking dude, but we've got no fun extras on him. If I was going to throw fun extras on, I would have thrown some nice lipstick on. I would have probably gone for something to match his eyes, like a light blue. Personally, I would have enjoyed that. Maybe it's a little too bright, so I would probably go for like slightly darker. There we go. I would have most likely thrown some godlike features on. For this guy personally, I think that it would have been nice to have something... Let's see. Oh yeah, that's perfect. No, I actually kind of like these a lot. I wish you could change the color on them. Maybe something like these. That looks kind of nice, because it doesn't add any specific color. So you can throw something like that on there. And then for the head, you can do literally anything. I actually really like that. Oh my god, there's so much cool stuff. There's just so much cool stuff. This is like a cute little tiara. I'm sorry, I'm going to get distracted by this. Turn it off. Take that terrible lipstick off. I did a bad job. There you go. I guess, you know, to make something cool, all you need to do is throw some hair on, throw some horns on, and you've got yourself a nice character, right? That's it. There we go. That does bring us to the end of the customization options, however. Your next options would be your background and your attribute points, and if you want to check those out for yourself, you can check my full video. It's linked below. Then, your options here, the voices. The voices. Give them a listen.
Lavaru on sick, worth and wrath, worth and wrath. Quethi silmes mitum.
Quethi silmes mitum. Quethi silmes mitum. Quethi silmes mitum. Quethi silmes mitum. Lavaru on sick, worth and wrath.
There you go. You can pick your identifier. He, she, or they, and then you can choose whether you want the identifier displayed in the character sheet. You can take that off, and then once again over here you can just display or hide the godlike features, which is kind of cool. Right? Then you enter your name, and you are gaming. That does bring us to the end of the video. If you'd like to see the custom creations that I made, just keep watching. You will find them at the end, and enjoy. I will say here that I love this. The whimsical nature of the character creation system with these cool fairy or fey-like fungal growths that we can throw on, the vibrance, the fresh colors that you can throw on there and mix in. The developers, they just had fun with this, and I feel like the only thing that I can really say here is I'd love to see more of it. It's like, I mean, geez. I suppose if I had to be critical and ask for, you know, any additions or changes, I'd say it would be nice to have a randomized feature. I'd say it would be nice to zoom in a little bit further. And that's basically it, right? That's basically it. I love this character creation system, and I've made some really fun characters with it, and I'm keen to make more. It's just awesome. So hey, guys, if you're jumping into Avowed, I hope you have fun with it. You can, as always, give this video a like and share it and do all that other good stuff. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to find my links, you can. They are below. My coffee page, my Twitch channel, and all the rest. And, yo, enjoy making those characters, dudes. Happy that.